Welcome to the Solid Verbal. And now, Dan and Ty.
Dan Rubenstein, welcome back, my friend. Can you believe we're at week 2 already? Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. I was thinking we were going to get to week 2, as last week was week 1, so I was feeling good about this week being week 2. I'm really good. Week 2 is one of my, top 5 weeks of the season. It's up there because, as I like to say, all season long, all off season long, there's no time like week 2 in terms of change. There's no better time for teams to improve and to prove that they're not who they are in week 1 than week 2. That's real easy that way. This one is a particularly interesting one, Ty.
You think?
Well, so I think beyond everything, we're just excited for football. We're excited for the actual football. But when you look at the matchups from week 2, there's a certain amount of emotion at play. There's a certain amount of familiarity. There's a certain amount of tension. There's a certain amount of uncertainty. Like, what did we see from week 1? Is that for real? Or what do we see from week 1 from a disastrous level? Is that going to continue? And I was looking at this. And so you have the emotion of Cyhawk. You have Sharon Moore playing for Oklahoma, now coaching at Michigan. You have the border war returning, right? You have all these little things throughout the sport. And I was thinking to myself, well, what encapsulates this kind of grouping of teams? That's what I do every week, Ty. But, we've got a revenge spot with Ole Miss, Kentucky, with Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. And there's all sorts of just different kinds of emotions and tensions built into everything we're seeing ahead of us in week 2. And one of those tensions is we haven't even seen the border war since 2011, I believe.
Right.
Correct?
That's right.
As you are yourself wearing some sort of disastrous hue of Missouri yellow.
Listen. I got to brighten it up around here. I'm always wearing these dark colors.
Sure.
I need to make myself stand out in the video frame. So bite your tongue, sir.
No, I'm the kids at the birthday party will appreciate it more than I do later.
Kate did ask me when I came downstairs if I was planning on working construction today, because it definitely has a fluorescence to it if you're watching the YouTube video at youtube.com/@.
I would say it's, thank you. It's like Chick-fil-A sauce yellow. I
think it's brighter yellow than that.
Maybe it's not coming across. I found it in my
drawer. I'm trying to mix it up around here,
By the way, speaking of Mizzou yellow, so the last time they played is 2011. The last time they played being 2011, the number 1 song in America. Do you have a guess? Late November 2011? It was Adele.
Okay.
And I looked at the emotions. I looked at the tensions. I have this as somebody, I think Someone Like You Saturday.
Someone like you.
Thank you. Someone Like You, there's history there. There's history there. And across the board, week 2, it's not rivalry week. I don't know. It's a couple teams running into each other that oh, God, didn't expect to see you here. It's only week 2 and we're already feeling lots of feelings. But
we got to get you to tighten up these preambles, man.
I know. There's just so many different, interesting UNLV UCLA has stuff.
Well, I was looking at it. I mean, you're the official naming guru on this show. But I had 2 options. One was Stinky Line Saturday.
Okay.
Because some of these lines stink. And we'll talk about them as we go through.
Okay.
The other one, and this is more directed at you, if you're going to come at me for the shirt.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we can call this a Scared to Compete Saturday because you forgot to give a lock last week.
Oh, I did. Okay. You'll get
so maybe you're scared to put yourself out there. I don't know, but
that's true.
Giving you the option here to redeem yourself. Welcome back in. Something or someone. What is it? Something like you. Someone Like You Saturday is upon us. We're going to go through on the next hour or so with everything you need to know. Who needs to prove what in week 2? The big games. We're going to talk through under the radar games. We're, of course, going to give you your optimal quad and maybe some other goodies at the end of the episode. If you are out there, if you are looking at this slate, if you are wondering to yourself, when can I go out? When can I be amongst the people? We'll get to that a little bit later as well. Why don't we start here, though, Dan?
I'm ready.
In this lifetime, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody except yourself.
Who needs to prove what in week 2? What do you think of the sound? Did I do better?
I thought you did really well with that.
Yeah?
That was really good.
I dialed up the cinematic, like...
In this lifetime, you don't have to
Listen
prove
for the
nothing to
pop
nobody
at the end right here.
except yourself.
Did you add that?
It was part of the free YouTube thing that I downloaded.
Nice.
Dan, who has the most to prove in week 2?
The most to prove in week 2, especially after week 1? Man, I might say Iowa.
Yeah? Why?
Well, aside from the yellowish hue of your shirt,
Thank you.
inspiring me to pick Iowa.
Go Hawks.
Iowa State's looking good. They have a signature win over a rival already under their belts this season. They came out strong against a quality South Dakota team, FCS, but strong. And Iowa did not impress last week, and they are putting a lot of their hopes and dreams on for 2025 on this new quarterback and this new passing game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man.
He didn't leave you inspired with 44 yards passing?
That didn't do much for me. I look at these other teams, like Mississippi State doesn't have a ton to prove. Michigan with a true freshman quarterback, I don't think has a ton to prove. You could argue Oklahoma with what they've invested in their offense against a headline team like Michigan. Yes, definitely has a lot to prove, but it's week 2, and they can be forgiven for not being fully formed with all that's new there. But there is something about Iowa and going to Mark Gronowski. I just look at the hopes and dreams of a lot of these teams. I think it's Iowa. What do you think?
Well, I have 4 teams here, actually 5 teams.
Okay.
And I think there is a common thread among all of them. My theme this week is that there are a bunch of teams that need to prove they can beat a solid opponent, or at least prove that they've got an answer to a question that we posed in the preseason.
Agree.
So case in point, Illinois. Illinois needs to prove it can win this game this week on the road against Duke. It is, I think, a tougher non-conference opponent. Duke's not going to the playoff, but there is certainly room in that matchup for some weirdness, and especially with the backdrop that we talked about in the previews about Illinois.
Yeah.
Look at their second order numbers, stuff like that. There was a little bit of a hint of fool's gold there.
Yeah.
They need to win a game like this to prove that they're through that patch.
This is definitely a take care of business if you are indeed top 15-ish type performance needed from Illinois. I agree with you. I think they're up there.
Virginia Tech.
Agreed.
Virginia Tech needs to prove it can bounce back in a big way against a bowl caliber, bowl adjacent team at home in Vanderbilt.
They lost to them last year.
Lost to them last year, so there's a little bit of a revenge element as well. But, the game this past Sunday against South Carolina was really close most of the way. That was not a blowout. They played really well defensively. With the exception of that punt return and the long pass to Nick Harbor, Virginia Tech was in that game, albeit a very ugly game for most of the way.
Agree.
You lose this one, though. If you're Brent Pry, it's over before it starts. You start 0-2, that's a real problem. Granted, neither one of these games is an ACC conference game, so there is clearly some upward mobility there if you can get your act together. But I just think the broader undercurrent within the Virginia Tech community is one of like, when is this going to happen? When are we going to see some results here? You got to beat Vandy.
It's weird to say, but yeah, because of where Vandy...
It's like, what year is this, right? Got to beat Vandy, but you got to beat Vandy.
Vandy is now a team you have something to prove about yourself against. Yeah, I agree.
The other one here, and it's not so much results-based. Of course, it's always results-based in the SEC, but I am looking more specifically at Oklahoma and its offensive line.
Yeah.
Because it was a huge problem last year. They're going up against a good front seven in Michigan at home at night. They need to prove that that line can at least move the pile, that line can set up some sort of forward push on the ground, or at a minimum protect John Mateer so that he's not running for his life. Because I do think Michigan's good up front, and I do think this is the big problem for Oklahoma coming into the season. They have clearly made improvements elsewhere, but if they can't prove that that line is in good working order, it's going to be a problem because this is a murderer's row of a schedule. They got to get that figured out right now.
I agree.
Got to prove it to me. And then the last two teams that I'll throw in here, maybe a bit out of left field, but James Madison and USF. And the referendum for them this week is proving that they belong. Because the reality of the G5 conversation now, if you take what happened in week 1 and look at it in retrospect, Tulane is probably head of the class if we're talking bigger picture playoff type stuff. But JMU, USF, if they get strong showings this week, doesn't necessarily they need to beat Louisville and Florida respectively.
Right.
But they just need to be close enough to prove that they belong so that they can stay front of mind as part of that conversation the deeper we get into this schedule. It's especially true, I think, for JMU, given that their schedule is weaker than most of their counterparts here on the G5 level. So those are 5 teams for you that I think have a lot to prove. Of course, there are more. Of course, we're going to talk through a bunch of these games here in just a moment. But in thinking of that question, that's what came to mind first.
I think that's right. I think that's absolutely right in terms of the provables. There's a lot for a ton of these teams that we're going to preview that they have to prove, but like the urgency, I think is right there with the teams we just mentioned. Honestly, there is something about Michigan on defense that they can prove that they're able to hold up any sort of offensive deficiencies against Oklahoma if Oklahoma does have the liability of that offensive line once again. I think what Oklahoma has to prove is, you're right, that we don't come away from that game saying, man, Oklahoma looks better, but that offensive line is still a clear liability. Yeah. They need to prove that we shouldn't say that. And Michigan needs to prove, hey, you might have a pretty average at best offensive line on the road to go up against. How are you going to take advantage, especially if your offense isn't scoring 30 a game? That Michigan's defense, I think, has something to prove against Oklahoma this week. Just not Michigan as a program in this moment.
I mean, after this Michigan game this week, on the road at Temple, but then it's Auburn at home. Then it's another de facto bye week against Kent State before they really get into the meat of this SEC schedule. And we can talk about that here in just a second. Why don't we get to our picks for week 2, if you're cool with that?
Please.
Dan, Ty, help. I need picks of the week.
Again, it is Someone Like You Saturday, Dan.
Someone like you.
Beautiful tone.
I totally forgot about that song, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's 2011. It's 14 years ago. I didn't know my wife then.
I celebrate Adele's entire catalog.
Did you know your wife in 2011?
I just met her in 2011, actually, yeah.
So, okay, I had never met my wife. I had never met my children. I had no idea where I was going to be living. I was living in LA still. I hadn't even moved to New York yet. It was a different time in my life, Ty, so I have left it all behind.
I want to know from the Verballerhood where they were at in week 2 of the year of our Lord 2011.
2011. Okay.
solidverbal@gmail.com. Of course, you can hit us up. Real quick, verballers.com. The game is still ongoing. So we had week 1. We gave away the $500 Visa gift card. This week, we are giving away a $150 gift card to our friends over at Roback. Not a sponsor.
Ooh.
Absolutely could be, used to be.
Once again, yeah.
A sponsor of this program. But we're buying this out of our own petty cash because they've got a bunch of cool college stuff over there that you can go and check out. I know they're very popular these days. Some players have been part of their advertising as well. So they're very much tied into the fabric of this whole sport. We will give away a $150 gift card to the winner. All you got to do is go on out to verballers.com, sign up for any paid tier. You can look for the pinned post at the very top to get into our game called Run the Board. If you finish as the top scorer in week 2, you will get that $150 card. If not, you can still continue to play for the remainder of the season. At the very end of this whole thing, the top 5 finishers will get a seat on our coveted board of trustees. So if you didn't play last week, that's fine.
No, it's not.
Well, it's not fine, but you can still take that mulligan. You can still take your medicine. You can still put in a strong performance the rest of the way and find yourself into that board of trustees. But
yeah, and if you're on that board,
short on time, if you want to do that, you're running short on time.
You got to get there. If you want to get on that board and tell Ty that, stop wearing those Charlie Brown shirts, you got to play in this game.
What's with you in the shirt? I'm just trying to mix it up here. It's so dark in this room.
I understand you. You're right.
We got to be excited. We got to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Football season is here.
That's true. It's hard to look away from.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment. 7:30 ABC. We talked about this game on the Tuesday episode. We gave a longer, more in-depth preview of Michigan on the road at Oklahoma. We just talked about what Oklahoma and Michigan, in our view, need to prove coming into week 2. Now, notably, when we picked this game on Tuesday, that point spread was at 6 points. Actually, we fumbled a little bit. I fumbled a little bit because I had an older line written down on my sheet. We had to scramble in the background, make some edits, as one does here.
Sure.
In on-demand media. The line's now down to 4.5 points. So I think people are looking at this. They're betting Michigan, maybe thinking along the same lines. Does Michigan have what it takes to push Oklahoma around up front? Can that change the timing, the rhythm of John Mateer? Can John Mateer go up against a front like Michigan and be as successful as he's been in the past? These are all very real questions about this game. Now, you and I both had Oklahoma in this one, right?
Correct.
I'd imagine if we liked them at 6, we like them even more at 4.5. That's not really going to change anything. But now that you've had about 48 hours to think this one through, is there anything new that you'd like to add to your preview, or should we just refer people back to what we did on Tuesday?
I mean, look, so there's always the possibility in week 2 that a team with a bigger game in week 2 or 3 is not trying to show everything or not reveal exactly its intentions on offense or on defense and comes out with a vanilla game plan against an opponent it sees as clearly lesser. That in Michigan's case, obviously the name of the game for Michigan was just finding comfort for Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
That they weren't going to be a fully weaponized version of this offense against New Mexico. All due respect to New Mexico. I actually think they're going to be at a decent place eventually under Jason Eck. But that's the concern, that any of the trepidation you have about Michigan's offense after week 1, which they obviously showed some great things, especially on the ground, that it's going to grow from there intentionally. The problem is how much sunlight and water are you getting at night in Norman against this defense with that crowd, bearing down over you. So I'm sticking with Oklahoma here just because situationally I think it's too advantageous. Even if the offensive line once again isn't incredible, I still think Oklahoma will have the opportunity to score 24 points and win this game by around 10.
Yeah, I think I had this one around 28-20, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I think I said 23-13, something in there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Look, I like Michigan. I like what we saw to Bryce Underwood. I went back. I watched highlights of that a couple times over now. He looks good.
Yeah.
He really looks good. He looks the part. He looks legit. But he is a freshman, and this is a really tough spot to go on the road and play at night, especially for Oklahoma, where I guess bigger picture in terms of prove-it teams, Oklahoma has way more riding on this game than Michigan does.
Agree.
I mean, I just don't even think it's close given circumstances in Norman for Brent Venables. Clearly, he went out, took in a bunch of transfers. He's trying to ramp this thing up now as quickly as he can. Michigan is still somewhat in transition, moving to a new coach, new quarterback. I think there is built-in expectations there that this is going to be a good team. How good they could be, we'll wait and see. But on the Oklahoma side, he's running out of time. So I do think that this is a really good spot for Oklahoma, having this one at night, catching Michigan early with a freshman quarterback. I still do have concerns about that line, as mentioned at the very top of this episode, but I think the playmaking of Mateer is ultimately what propels them. So if you're getting in on Run the Board late and you can get this line at a little bit of a better number if you like Oklahoma, now would be the time to jump in.
Yeah, and hopefully we see
4.5 looks good to me.
Hopefully we see more Jade Knott than we saw last week.
Yes.
I think he just had a carry.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was dinged up or whatever happened, that hopefully we see a little bit more that they were just being cautious for this week.
The other game that we talked about on Tuesday, and again, I don't know if you've had any kind of change of heart. The point spread hasn't, though, unlike the first game. It's still -3 in favor of Iowa State at home against Iowa. This is the big noon game at noon on Fox. As you can see from my hue of yellow here, go Hawks.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my guns. I still stand by the fact that Iowa can win with a good defense and hopefully a performance out of one Mark Gronowski that goes for a shade over 44 yards.
You do look like you just opened up a corn dog stand, and I'm not a corn dog person. I'm with you, though, on this. Iowa State, I feel great about. Right here, right now, at home, situationally. Again, if it's going to be true of Bryce Underwood, it's going to be true of a number of teams. There's no way Iowa's passing game looks identical to what it looked like last week, even though it was against Albany. I think it will improve. You are never exactly what you are in week 1, even in week 2. And if you are, that's a lot of problems here. And get your money now, because the Iowa lines are going to be weirdly low until everybody catches up.
I'm on Iowa outright, plus the 3.
Good
I
luck.
think they win this game 21-20, something close. I have to stick to my guns. You know, I've been all in
You
on
don't have
Gronowski.
to. You've seen new evidence that can sway you.
But
That
I
exists
have-
in the world of forensics.
I have, but also Kirk Ferentz has been doing this a long time, Dan. He's been a successful coach. He's the longest tenured coach in college football. Maybe a little bit gamesmanship. Don't want to give too much away in advance of this game. They
So-
knew they were going to beat the Great Danes of Albany. They knew that. They don't want to give too much away for what they're going to show this week, you know?
So with all of the available data, and you are trying to respect every listener that
Always.
that decides to download this show and give us a listen, give us their attention, you are going to say that you have used all of the available information and said they faked having a bad quarterback.
I
in
think
week
that's
1.
what happened. I think I'm not even sure it was Mark Gronowski in that helmet.
Buddy, nobody is better at having bad quarterback play unintentionally than Iowa football.
So then they should excel at it if they're trying to do it on purpose, right?
You got to give people a real reason here, Ty. If you're going to pick Iowa,
Listen,
give people a real reason.
I am so heavily invested in Iowa at this point in time. For me to go back on everything I have said over the last 2 months would be a huge betrayal to the Verballerhood.
But we acquit people of murder when new evidence comes to light.
True.
When there's a witness or there is DNA,
I
you can take this opportunity, Ty.
I am sticking to my guns here.
That's insane.
I will take the arrows on Saturday night
Okay.
if for whatever reason Iowa were to lose this game. I will take it. You can call the Reverb line at 855-VERBAL-3. You can also give us a holler at solidverbal@gmail.com or across any of our social channels. But I am unabashedly on the side of Iowa in this game. They are winning this one outright. On the arm of Mark Gronowski, Dan Rubenstein. Heard
okay.
it here
I thought
first.
your theory was going to be like Hank Brown drugged Mark Gronowski, but no.
It looked like he might have drugged him.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my, that one play action pass where he kind of rolled out to the right and then he one hop Charlied it into a guy wide open in the end zone. That was
I hope for the sake of my own personal entertainment that Iowa's offense looks a lot better this weekend.
again. You can always give us a call if you are listening throughout the course of the weekend. 855-VERBAL-3. We cut up the reverbs. We play them
Yes.
on Sunday nights. And of course, if you are listening, if you're new here, if you made it this far, follow or subscribe. Leave a star rating. Leave a review. If you've left a review before, one thing I discovered, you can actually go back in on Apple. You can edit it and you can do it again so that it pops up to the top. So if
Okay.
you're one of those folks that's like, I already did it. Sorry, I can't, because they only let you do it once. Go back, do it again, hit save. Let's get some fresh reviews in there, yeah?
I would love that.
12 o'clock, high noon Eastern time on ESPN. It is the Illinois Fighting Illini on the road at the Duke Blue Devils. Illinois favored by 3 on the road.
Yeah.
Very quietly a monster game
Agree.
in week 2. Now, you're calling it the Shire Showdown. Can you explain that connection again for the
Oh,
Verballerhood?
it just John Shire's from where I now live in the North Shore of Chicago, and there was a lot of hope that he was going to end up at Illinois. I think his high school coach, I don't know if it was Bruce Weber, the then Illinois coach brother, that there was the hope that he was going to go to Illinois. He's like a legendary icon of high school basketball here, and eschewed the local school for Duke, where he became an icon in his own right, and is now the head coach.
He's a
of
coach.
Duke. Yeah, he's the head coach of Duke, and I think Duke beat Illinois, had like the worst beatdown of Illinois basketball history last year with
Shire
Cooper
Showdown.
Flagg. The other thing, not John Shire related, as I was researching
Someone like you.
Saturday,
Just angelic tones.
because I'm looking for this scar tissue, I'm looking for this bad blood to support my theory that there's a lot of unease and tension and heartbreak in the air. who was the defensive coordinator for Luke Altmaier's clear worst game ever as Illinois' starting quarterback?
That would be Manny Diaz.
Manny
Penn State.
Diaz. Luke Altmaier got benched going against Manny Diaz through 4 picks.
Yeah.
And now we're getting, a face-to-face reunion. So there is something here.
Altmaier, Diaz,
Thank you very
Illinois
much.
versus Duke. Dan, I'm going to extend an invite to you this week only.
Okay.
You are duly invited to join me in the Mensa Society and go with Duke Blue Devils home dog of the week.
The Yakos, home dog of the week.
Explain yourself.
We talked about this when we previewed the ACC.
Yeah.
Duke's in a weird position right now. And it's weird if only because it's under the radar. Maybe one of the more reliable mid-tier teams in the ACC. And this is one of those games, as I said at the top, Illinois' got to have this, man. Like, if it fashions itself as a playoff contender, even a conference contender, at a minimum, they got to prove that what we saw last year was not fool's gold and that they could go on the road against a good team and win. And I think Duke is a good team. And I'm saying this as somebody who's got Illinois as like a fringe playoff team. Like, I like Illinois a lot, but I think this is a tough spot for them. The weird part in looking over both these teams is how much they have in common, actually. There's a lot here. There's two teams with a ton back, 2 good dual threat quarterbacks, 2 teams with questions out wide. There are 2 reasons why I like Duke and why I like them outright. The first is that Illinois had no pass rush last season whatsoever. Now, that's not to say they won't get better. They had 4 sacks last week, albeit against, a team that is not the caliber of Duke. But
is it Western Illinois? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. I am not too high on giving Darian Mensah a whole lot of time. Like, I legit think he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in college football, or at least has that kind of potential.
Yeah.
I don't like letting him sit back there and pick apart a team.
Agree.
And I think there's possibility here that could happen. And then the second thing is, to your point from earlier, like, it was Havoc City in Durham last year. They had 43 sacks, 116 tackles for loss. And I cannot overlook the fact that they have a real ability with Manny Diaz at the helm to change the game with an aggressive, attacking, playmaking defense.
Sure.
So I think this is tight. I think this is a good game. I've got this one at Duke 22-20, winning at home, pulling the upset.
I'm with you. I think I'm going Duke here as well. So the concern here is Duke needs to be able to run the ball. They were a terrible running team last week. They showed a little bit. I think they beat Elon last week, and they did it largely. It was actually a pretty balanced effort, but they need to be able to prove to everybody that they can run this year. And Illinois needs to prove they can stop the run. Up front, Illinois was, less than stellar last year. You talked about the pass rush. They were not good defending the run last year. I like the idea that Duke is not a particularly deep team. This is when to succeed if you're Duke, right? When you're at your healthiest early on in September. So I'm going Duke because I think quarterback is probably even. I really like Luke Altmaier, but Darian Mensah at home. I like where this Duke offense is heading. I think Illinois is going to be a good team this year. I'm just not sold on great yet. So I'm going Duke here. I think they're able to frustrate, once again, Luke Altmaier, not to the level where he was against Penn State. It's just a different talent level he's throwing into when he's playing Penn State. So I'm going Duke here. I think situationally it's the play, and I think they're going to be really strong against this Illinois defense.
So we agree.
We agree.
Let's go to 3:30 ESPN2. Kansas on the road at Mizzou. They call it the border war.
Yes.
It is a rivalry game, as you said at the top. It has not been played since 2011. What do we do in rivalry games?
You got to throw out those records.
Kansas 2-0, Mizzou 1-0. Doesn't matter. It's a rivalry game. We got Mizzou favored by 6.5 points, Dan. What's your gut tell you here?
My gut is actually Kansas, even though I love Mizzou this season overall and its schedule. My gut is the way Kansas has come out and played defense. Now, their opponents haven't been great. It's a first-year Fresno State team, whatever. But they've been no nonsense on defense. They've moved the ball ridiculously well. And there is something a little bit scary to me about there being too much emotion and too much pressure on Mizzou at home with this renewed rivalry game, where Kansas can go into it as like a business trip, and Mizzou has something to prove in front of its home fans. And it's Bo Pribula's first start against an FBS team.
A real team?
A legit team. And there's also, like, Sam Horn's hurt now, right?
Yeah.
So how comfortable they're going to be running Bo Pribula, knowing that there's not anything proven behind him? Like, I think I'm going Kansas here. I hate it.
Outright or just a cover?
I think I'm going Kansas outright. I think I have Kansas 31-28.
Okay. All right. That's spicy.
I'm spicy.
A little
I
bit
like
of heat on
Mizzou.
that.
I do like Mizzou. I think there is something fun about Kansas being in more of a rhythm, given that they played a real program in week 1. I think they certainly have the quarterback seasoning advantage. Jalen
I mean, it was
Daniels versus
E.J.
Bo
Warner
Pribula.
in week 1. So just kind of commit that.
I'm
to
with
memory.
you. But E.J. Warner didn't play defense.
True.
So I don't know. I think Kansas is a little bit more rhythmic right now. And I think the vibes are so high in Columbia right now with Bo Pribula and looking as good as they did on offense that this is going to be the week 1 to week 2 come down.
Wow. That's like 4 out of 5 in a Thai restaurant right there.
Thank you very much.
You got appropriate level of spice.
Bring in
on
those
that.
peppers.
Yeah, man. I'm going to go Mizzou outright, but I'm going to take Kansas to cover, and that's a little bit of a cop-out. But
Okay.
I had a little bit of the same thing going on where I was flip-flopping on this one all morning when I was trying to put this together. I think the problem on the Kansas side is, A, completely new at linebacker, B, secondary that's in transition.
Sure.
And you can get away with that against a lot of teams, especially if you're able to play offense. And I still think Kansas will be pretty good at running the football this year. They've got a good backfield. They got Jalen Daniels. They will find ways to utilize that. Control clock. It's not going to be like a NASCAR offense. Yeah, right. Like we could throw that out. But Mizzou can go more run heavy now with Pribula as the guy.
Sure.
And it's easy to forget about Ahmad Hardy, who only had 10 carries a week ago, but went for 100 yards. The combination of those two guys now in a real game against a real team, a rivalry game that they want to win, you can do some stuff with them, man. And you can put a lot of strain on the second and third level of the defense in doing so.
Sure.
And so I think that tandem in particular is what I like the most in this game. I do think Kansas is going to be plucky as hell all season long. This is going to be vintage Lance Leipold Kansas, i.e. they're going to be a pain in the ass.
Right.
So I think Mizzou wins, but I could absolutely see Kansas keeping this one close or maybe even pulling the upset. I got more points than you. I've got 35-31. Mizzou winning, Kansas covering.
Okay. We disagree.
Let's go to 7:30 ESPN2. Speaking of stinky line Saturdays, what's this? Arizona State minus 6.5. That's it. On the road at Mississippi State, Dan. Here is the important context. This is why I'm shrugging in my bright yellow shirt.
Please.
Which team had the lowest win total in all the SEC?
Last year?
This year. Coming into the season, Vegas expected the least out of which
okay.
SEC team.
I assume Mississippi State.
3.5 was their over-under. They were the
Sure.
lowest in the conference. Arizona State, if you saw the latest poll, they're number 12 in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Universally viewed as a contender in the Big 12. Why is this line so low? This is ringing around in my head as I'm looking at this game. I'm thinking, what does our friend Tim Murray? What do our friends in the desert?
Sure.
What do they know that we don't? Why is this line under a touchdown?
To be clear, Tim Murray does not set lines.
He doesn't, but he's adjacent to the people that do.
That's true.
What do they know, Dan, that they're not telling us?
It's week 2. It's a difficult place to play. That the best of Mississippi State might be interesting despite a slow start last week. that Arizona State relied on Cam Scatterbo for 262 yards in this matchup last year. It was the game of the season, I guess, leading up, other than the Iowa State game and the Big 12 championship game. And they didn't run away from Mississippi State last year with Cam Scatterbo. What was the final score last year? They won by single digits, I believe.
Yeah, right.
I think they won by a touchdown. So the thinking is this year's Arizona State team, like everybody else, is not fully formed. You're going to a difficult place to play your first road game, and there is talent on this Mississippi State roster. They should be improved from where they were last year. They're not going to be incredible, but situationally, it's not horrible for the Bulldogs.
But what if they're horrible? That's what I keep coming back to.
I'm totally with you.
What if they're I don't think they can be as horrible as they were last year.
Right.
Because they took in a bunch of transfers, and they're definitely, I mean, there's more than enough evidence.
But what's the rule? The
roster.
The rule is if you're flummoxed by a line, lean into it, right?
I can't, though. I can't in good faith lean into this. And for as much as I believe down into my marrow that the people doing this and paying the bills doing this out in Vegas are smarter than us two idiots.
Sure.
The only reason I would take Mississippi State is because either the line stinks and is making me second guess it, or because I had some epiphany or Mississippi State showed me some epiphany and either Blake Shapen or the ground game or the defense or something popped in week 1 to make me feel otherwise. It is good that Blake Shapen's healthy. That's a bonus. It is good that the backfield should be solid. I think that's going to be the meat of this offense.
Right.
But this was a historically bad defense a year ago. And even though they brought in transfers and they should be better, it's still a lot to expect. It's just going to click now. You know, it did like last week. That was close for a half, that game, until they got moving, until they figured it out. They're not alone in that category. Half of college football took a half to get going. So we can't really even hold that against them. But if they had gone out and blown the doors off of Southern Miss, maybe then I'd be like, okay, I got ASU by 10. I can't realistically throw my hat in the ring on the Mississippi State side.
Hot rain in the forecast, by the way, for Starkville. Obviously,
hot rain?
Well, I think it's going to be a hot day and there's rain in the forecast.
Okay, so a bit of a soupy atmosphere, you're thinking.
Soupy, stanky Starkville.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if it's soupy, stanky, sloppy Starkville as well.
Could be.
I don't get the line either. I'm leaning into it. I'm going plus points with the home team. Literal home dogs.
Are they your home dog of the week?
No.
No. Is Duke your home dog of the week, or do you have another one?
I have another one.
Oh. Let's do some quick hits, shall we? You want to do a speed run here?
Let's.
Also at 7:30 ACC Network, this is Vanderbilt. This is Virginia Tech. At last look, this is a 1-point line in favor of Virginia Tech, Dan. Bit of a revenge spot.
Yeah.
As we talked about earlier. This is one that went to overtime a year ago. I did read some positive updates on Terrion Stewart. The big running back transfer came to Blacksburg from Bowling Green. That would be a really nice boost for this backfield. They could get him back and healthy. They didn't have him in that South Carolina game. I guess it remains to be seen whether that would have changed anything because South Carolina was pretty dominant.
Sure.
With their defensive front. But who you got?
I went back and forth with them. I think Vanderbilt's better.
Really?
Honestly, I just think Vanderbilt's better. I mean, you can't take their week 1 results. They took care of business, obviously. I think they have the quarterback advantage. I think Virginia Tech will not be as sloppy in as many phases as they were last week. You're going to see improvement. You mentioned the health thing. You're going to see improvement from week 1 to week 2. I just think if this is going to be a relatively close game, like the line indicates, why would you take Virginia Tech in a relatively close game? If I think it's going to be close, if I think these teams are relatively even matched, why would you go with Virginia Tech in a close game after what we've seen from them? So I'm going Vandy.
These are some hard truths that you're bringing out today. You know that? Whether you're talking about the shirt, or you're talking about the sound, talking about the week, or talking about Virginia Tech.
Right.
I'm going to say something here that actually makes me sad. There was like a visceral sadness when I jotted this down on my note sheet. But
you had to close your Dippin' Dots location?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Times are tough, man. In this economy.
You're still wearing the shirt, though. Continue.
This is an act of self-preservation to say this, okay?
Okay.
This is a show about honesty. I like Virginia Tech. I'm going to bat for Virginia Tech. I went on the Sons of Saturday podcast a few weeks back, a great team podcast.
Yeah.
Love those guys. They do an awesome job. Talk through Virginia Tech, why I was high on Virginia Tech. I am picking Virginia Tech here. If they lose, though, I'm out.
That's
I'm
it?
fully out. I'm
Before
done.
the ACC season even begins.
Doesn't matter. No, I'm out. I'm fully out. This is a Vandy team that leads the SEC in returning production. They are a good team, but their over-under is like 5.5, or it was coming into this season. If they played in the ACC, 7-8 win team, you think? Is that fair?
Sure.
I think they'd be a pretty good team if they played in the ACC.
Yeah.
But this is not a great team. It isn't. And this is not a team that Virginia Tech should lose to. It just isn't, Dan. So Tech should be able to move the ball through the air. I think it should be there. I think Aiden Green, their wideout, who I love, should have a big game. There is absolutely no reason why Kyron Drones shouldn't have a really good stat line coming out of this one. I'm not saying it's got to be 30 or 35, but it shouldn't be 15 for 35 like it was a week ago. It just can't be. It can't be if you're Brent Pry.
I mean, it's
so
also
I don't know what they got to do. All right? I don't know what the voodoo is this week to kind of get the team on the same page and get rid of the dumb mistakes and all that from a week ago.
I'm with you.
I am on Tech here. If they lose, I am out. I will personally start the John Gruden rumors, okay?
Oh, God.
I will any rumors, whoever. Bring back Fuentes. Doesn't matter.
Don't do that.
Whatever it takes. I am out if they lose. That is my referendum.
It's also a letdown spot for Virginia Tech, right?
It could be. Yeah.
A little lethargic after losing against a high-profile team last week on a neutral site, NFL Stadium. Okay. I'm in on Vandy.
Let's go 12 o'clock, high noon on the C-Dub.
Okay.
Baylor on the road at SMU. SMU favored by 3. This is 1,000% going to be a shootout, Dan. Yeah. 1,000% a shootout coming here.
Yeah.
I'm terrified that they're going to put Kevin Jennings on the run. And they're going to skewer Baylor the way that Jackson Arnold did. Now, that's not quite Kevin Jennings' game. He's not maybe as much of a runner, though he can. I think that will be there for SMU. And I think points will be easier to come by than the Baylor faithful would want.
Okay.
My SMU theory this year is that they're going to take a step back because they lost a lot. But if you kind of think it through and you know what they've got on the other side, like this should be a game where Baylor can get some stuff going.
Yeah.
I think especially on the ground. We tend to think a lot of Sawyer Robertson through the air, but I think Baylor can get it going on the ground. I'm inclined to take the points here because I like doing that in a shootout, but I also think Baylor is the better team. So I think a lot of points. I think it's close for a while. I think Baylor pulls away late. I've got it at 42-31, Baylor with the win.
See, I think there's a lot of points here, but if the clear worst part of what appears to be these two teams is Baylor's defense after last week, and everybody should be extended the grace, get better between week 1 and week 2, I'm just not sure that what I saw from Baylor's defense against Auburn is immediately fixable going against a really good quarterback in Kevin Jennings. So I'm with you. SMU takes a step back. I think they're going to be a lot of points, but I think it's almost similar to what happened last week against Auburn. I think Rhett Lashley is a really good coach. I still think even with the new guys on offense that this is going to be a productive offense.
Okay.
So it's not a crazy road trip, obviously, going from Waco to Dallas, but I still have SMU as the home team winning this game, I don't know, 41-30, something like that.
We made this road trip up from, I guess we started in Austin.
In Austin, yeah.
And drove our way up to
Waco is where we stopped. I think we stopped at the Buc-ee's
right?
in Temple. It's not far from Waco. Yeah.
If you are making this journey and you stop at that Buc-ee's, send us a picture on our Twitter account.
It's good Buc-ee's.
Or tag us on an Instagram or something. Yeah, that was my first Buc-ee's experience.
Same.
And we tried
Actually,
that.
that's not true. I've been a couple. Yeah.
What was the popcorn thing that we tried? The Buc-ee's corn?
They're like beaver nuggets, I want to say.
We tried that. It was like instant heart attack.
Yeah.
If I had like another handful, I would have had to pull over. That was a heavy experience.
Yeah, it was about 40 minutes south of Waco. Beaver nuggets were the worst part of that journey for me.
Buc-ee's was incredible.
But Buc-ee's was great.
But yeah, the beaver nuggets, that was
Not for me.
3:30 ABC. Another revenge game, isn't it? Ole Miss at Kentucky.
Yeah, of course it is.
Ole Miss favored by 10 on the road. They had the inexplicable loss last year to Kentucky. It definitely flew in their face when they tried to talk playoff at the end of the year. I'm just fully out on Kentucky right now. I'm fully out.
Okay.
And realistically, what do they got to score to beat Ole Miss in this one? Like 30 points, you think? 28 points?
Last year it was only 20. So
Last
that was
year
a
was
better
20.
Ole Miss team. Yeah.
What about okay, so you think it's lower than 30? You think it's lower than 28? How much do they need to score in order to win?
In this year's matchup,
Yeah.
after the bad blood from last season?
Unless they can go back and replay last year.
Right.
Yes, this year.
I think Ole Miss is going to be especially motivated. I think if I were to feel good about Kentucky winning this game outright, I would have to be assured that they can score 30. I don't think you can assure me of that.
I've got Ole Miss lock of the week.
Lock of the week.
And I hate doing it,
Yeah.
road game in the SEC, but I'm not feeling it with Kentucky. I don't think they've got the firepower to score enough to win this one, even a cover. I've got it at 31-17 in favor of Ole Miss. And bigger picture,
Yeah.
if we were to reinstitute the old drive for 325 that Iowa had 2 years ago now, I guess, but we were using that on the Kentucky side,
Yeah.
would you bet the over?
No. Now, look, they're going to improve, which is not something you could have said about Kentucky last season.
Correct.
I think Kentucky's defense will be pretty good this year.
Sure.
And that can be enough to cover this game. There's a lot new. There are Ole Miss offensive line questions this year. Scoring 25 a game, I'm not in on after seeing the passing quote-unquote attack against Toledo from last season.
They scored
last week.
24 against Toledo.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of teams in this schedule with really good defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to, if they're going to hit that 325, I'll keep track of it. What the hell? They have 25 points per game over 13 games would get you to 325 over the course of the season. They would need to run it up in week 3 against Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
They would need to run it up a little bit later in the year against Tennessee Tech. But the rest of the way, South Carolina, Georgia, both on the road. Texas and Tennessee, both at home.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn on the road. Florida at home. Close out the year at Vandy, at Louisville. Got to win those two. I'm not in on Kentucky as a bowl team at all. I'm just done with this team. But those are a lot of tough defenses on that schedule. Even Vandy should have a decent defense with all that they have back, especially by that point in the season. So for as fun as it was with Iowa and as big of a punchline as it ended up being on the Brian Ferentz side,
Yeah.
if we extend that a little bit out and go a little bit farther south and east, I think there's a question there about Kentucky, what they can do on offense. Again, I'm locking up Ole Miss. I got it at 31-17. I don't think Kentucky has what it takes to score with these guys.
The question with Ole Miss is their offense fully formed, or how close to fully formed is this offense with Austin Simmons and offensive line questions? I think their skill's going to be fine. You see Harrison Wallace went off last week.
Yep.
Get to that winning place.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
So,
oh, God.
I don't think it's fully formed. Austin Simmons threw a couple picks. I think only one was his fault. I was really searching for reasons to go double-digit dog at home, but I don't have it. 30-13 Ole Miss. 3
more quick. Let's speed run these. Let's
Please.
get to a few under-the-radar games.
Okay.
I mentioned this one, but Friday, 7 p.m. ESPN2. James Madison on the road at Louisville. This line's about 14 in favor of Louisville. This is a de facto national championship situation for JMU.
Except it's not at home.
Not at home.
Right.
But they got to keep this one close at a minimum if they want to be taken seriously come playoff time. This is their one big shot against a non-con team.
That's true.
And I think this is a crazy interesting matchup because JMU is going to try running the crap out of the ball. They had 44 carries, over 300 yards. They had 4 touchdowns last week against Weber State. My theory when we did the preview was that Bobby Chesney was going to run the ever-loving daylights out of the football, and he wanted to beat your brains in on the ground.
Yeah.
And if they can get that going against Louisville, which I'm not sure they can, but if they try and if they have success, they can milk the clock, they can shorten the game, and I think they can, which is why I'm going Dukes plus 14 here. I really like this team. So if this comes back to bite me, so be it.
Right.
I don't think their defense is good enough to win outright. It's a good defense for the Sun Belt. I don't know if it's good enough to hold down Louisville. I think this is a good game. Maybe a backdoor cover situation. I got it at something like 35-27 Louisville.
Louisville's my lock of the week.
Whoa.
Lock of the week.
I think they're going to destroy them.
Wow.
I just think you have to look again. I'm using the term fully formed, and this is the first real game for both of these teams. But at home, JMU is going to have Louisville's attention. I don't love Miller Moss. I don't love the ceiling of this team.
I'm stunned by this. My mouth is like agape at this. I can't believe you went lock of the week.
Yeah, I'm going lock of the week here.
Wow.
I don't think that JMU on defense is going to have the guys. I don't love JMU right now against Louisville's defense as a complete offense. Yeah,
Man.
I'm going Louisville here. I think they're going to win by 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Fair enough. 3:30 CBS, Oklahoma State on the road at your Oregon Ducks. Oregon, a 28-point favorite.
Yeah.
Seems like too much.
Buddy, they're going to beat them by 40 plus.
You think?
Yes.
I'm going Oregon 41-24.
Don't do that.
I am not the biggest Oklahoma State fan. 28 is way too much.
Here's how the week started out. The week started out with Mike Gundy making pre-excuses for why they're getting blown out. Right?
I did catch that.
Gundy talking about Oregon's budget, and they shouldn't be playing each other because Oregon should be playing teams with similar budgets, and Oklahoma State should be playing teams with similar budgets.
Let me ask you this. Do you think we're going to get some sort of frosty handshake situation as a result of some of that?
Well, Lanning said specifically how much he respected Mike Gundy's accomplishments and his ability as a coach. He wasn't being like mean about it. He was being a little bit pithy, saying that like, you know, we spend to win, and it sounds to me like somebody's saving money, so they have built-in excuses, something like that. That's me paraphrasing. Oregon's really good this year. Oklahoma State lost its starting quarterback already.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing, I think he's a third-year redshirt freshman. He's had a redshirt year and a medical hardship year. And he's essentially making his big game debut in Autzen Stadium as basically a 30-point underdog with not a ton to love about where Oklahoma State is heading, even short term.
Listen.
I am just telling you, Oregon was probably going to be a lot better than Oklahoma State going into the game, no matter what. And now you're giving them fuel. Like, I think Oregon wins this game something like 52-10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oregon showed nothing last week. They went 5 deep at a ton of different positions. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be ugly.
I think this is a Gundy game.
Okay.
I think he uses some dark magic and keeps it relatively close to just confuse everyone the rest of the year, because you know he does this too. I still don't think Oklahoma State's any good. And I have the same questions about directionally where this program is headed.
Right.
But 28's too much. That's just way too much. 41-24, 17 points.
You think they're going to score 24 points on Oregon with Zane Flores?
That is what I'm saying, yes.
You think this defense is going to hold Oregon to 40? Okay. Buddy, they weren't that impressive against UT Martin.
Well, they lost their quarterback. They lost their quarterback. They won by 20.
Okay. So the quarterback who came in, Zane Flores.
Listen, you can make fun of that pick all you want.
Yeah.
Why isn't the line higher, Dan?
That's
if
a
you think
pretty
they're going to win
high
by
line.
50 points, shouldn't the line be higher?
Well, I think Oklahoma State in name brings it down a little bit.
Oh, that's what it is. So the Vegas odds makers saw the name Gundy and they said, oh, we should actually give them
It's Oklahoma
some points.
State. It's early on. They won their game by 20 last
Got
week.
it.
I'm telling you now.
Because that's what those guys do. They play emotions all the time.
No, it's a big number, Ty. It is a big number. I just like the big number.
Fair enough. Listen, I admire the elbow grease that you've put into this pick.
I'm trying.
Last but not least, SEC Network, South Florida, USF. On the road at Florida. Florida favored by 17 and a half points. Depends where you look. USF, a big win last week over Boise State. Killed them at home, 34-7. Did not have them winning by 27 over Boise State.
No.
I liked them, and I still like them to win the American, but I did not have that on the bingo card. Good team, veteran team. 8 starters back, I think, on both sides of the ball. USF, that was part of why I liked them. And, of course, Byron Brown, who's a fun quarterback, always gives them a chance on every play.
Yeah.
He's going to keep them interesting, if nothing more, this season. Florida's just way better. It was way better across the board. They will not make the same mistakes that Boise made a week ago. Boise was very mistake-prone.
Yep.
Florida is not going to do that. The danger, I think, in this matchup is that USF likes to play quick. And if you play quick and it doesn't work, that means more chances for the other guy. And the other guy happens to be DJ Lagway, who I really like this year.
Yep.
I like DJ Lagway more than anything on the USF side. All right. So this, to me, feels like a game that could get out of hand. And I think it's close for maybe a quarter and a half, something like that, at which point Florida gets a turnover or gets a couple stops and they start to pull away because I don't trust that the USF defense is going to offer much resistance here. I think the Gators win. I think they cover. I think it's something like 40-17.
Okay. I think Florida's way better. I agree with everything you said. There is something else at play here, though. What does Florida have after USF?
Oh, you're thinking a little bit of a look at
They
it.
have at LSU, at Miami, and I think a bye before Texas.
So what's the psychology then? The psychology is this is just a whatever game. We're favored by 17 points.
Well, it's in-state. It's never whatever. I think
Right.
USF is trying to complete the trifecta. They've beaten, as a program, they've beaten Miami and Florida State. They came close in 2022, I think Billy Napier's first year, but couldn't get it done, lost by like 3 points or something. So Florida's going to take this game seriously. Florida now has the advantage of watching USF take down a playoff team from last year in Boise State. So USF is going to have Florida's attention. I just, at the same time, think there is something about Florida knowing what's coming up the rest of the month in early October and saying, you know, how much attention are we giving to USF right now? So I have Florida winning this game. The line, once again, is what?
17 and a half, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Florida barely covers. Maybe like a front door cover, something.
Yeah, I
late.
don't have the sound here. People don't like when I play that sound because there's a doorbell and it drives the dogs nuts. Which
Sure.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
So I should probably redo that sound. But I could see a front door.
34-14 Florida.
Yeah, I could see a front door situation here.
Yeah,
To be fair, they're good enough even if they overlook South Florida to beat South Florida handily.
agree.
This is a really good Florida team that, you know, after we get through a couple more weeks of this, we can maybe rejigger playoff rankings, rejigger brackets and things of that nature. But if Florida looks as good as it looked against, albeit Long Island.
I was gonna say, you actually don't know. Nobody knows how good this year's Florida team
Sharks
is.
of Long Island.
Right.
If they look that good, if we see it again this week, then maybe we could talk a little bit more about it. But Florida's loaded.
We have no concept for Florida, though.
We don't.
We don't have a concept of DJ Lagway as starting the season as the guy, and if the defensive changes and the guys coming back are still what we think they are. Like, we just don't know, and this will go a long way to determining that. But No, we don't know this year's Florida team. Just like we didn't know this year's Florida State team. Just like we didn't know this year's Boise team. Just like, there's a lot of these instances. So, yeah, I'm going Florida to barely cover, but I don't feel great about it given what's coming up.
By the way, clear your calendar for week 3.
Oh, buddy.
We got Georgia at Tennessee.
Great.
We got Texas A&M at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, who you just mentioned, on the road at LSU. We've also got an Arkansas Ole Miss game, which could be weird.
Always weird.
We've got Clemson on the road at Georgia Tech, which who knows? Could be a little bit weird. You're going to be at Oregon versus Northwestern in the portable stadium, which I don't expect.
True.
I don't expect any hijinks there, but at least that's worth noting on our show.
Right.
South Florida at Miami. They've got another one. So there's a bunch of really interesting games 2 weeks out, but let's not put the cart before the horse. I've got a few under the radar games that I'm very interested in discussing with you.
I'm ready.
We did this on our episode a week ago. We had some people email in ideas of their own for under the radar games, but these are games that you shouldn't like. They might not be all the way at the top of billing, but just worth noting. Under the radar games, Dan. I've been talking about this one since we did our previews. This is 5 p.m. This is SEC Network. This is the first ever meeting between these two teams, if you can believe it.
Okay.
Arkansas State on the road against Arkansas. They are playing this one at War Memorial Stadium. For what it's worth, in case anybody cares, if you know the area, War Memorial Stadium, historic grounds.
Sure.
I think Arkansas State can score. I know they won't play any defense. They just won't. They went full control, alt-delete on that side of the ball. Doesn't matter. Their offense is fun. Jalen Raynor is legit a good quarterback. On the Arkansas side, I don't know if you saw what Taylor Green did last week.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor Green looked incredible. He looked incredible. The Red Wolves do not have an answer for him. I think they can cover. I think this is 42-20. I would take the points here in Arkansas State.
I don't know. That's a big number. I might be with you.
A big number. Rivalry? I mean, they say it's a rivalry. It's two teams from Arkansas that they've never played.
Right.
But this is a game that they've been trying to get on the books for
yeah.
a long time. And they finally make it happen in War Memorial Stadium, maybe like the last game in War Memorial Stadium.
Sure.
I'm on Arkansas State and the Red Wolves. I think they're a fun team. They can score.
Okay. A little bit of a shootout for a stretch of this one. Yeah, I have Arkansas
so.
winning. But yeah, Arkansas State by, they'll keep it to 15 or 16.
Another one under the radar. High noon, ESPN2. Virginia at NC State.
Mm-hmm. The Robert Anai Classic.
Ooh, yeah. NC
Annihilation.
State should be better than Virginia.
Yeah, defense was good against ECU. Yeah.
But is that not the story of NC State football right now, that they should be something that they just haven't been?
We have no idea what Virginia is this year with how they've overhauled things.
I think the Who's win outright. I was impressed with Chandler Morris. I think it's 35-31 Who's.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the home team here. Home team with what I think is going to be a pretty good defense. I think it's going to be a fun back and forth, but I'm going NC State to close it out.
7:30 NBC. Boston College at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Michigan State favored by 3.5, 4.5 points, somewhere in that neighborhood. Something about this game just feels real ugly to me. Real ugly, real sort of like carrying the torch of really bad Saturday night NBC games. But I think it's fun. And I like Michigan State.
I like BC here. I like BC by 10, double digits. By double digit. I was not super impressed with Michigan State against Western Michigan. Offense didn't have a ton of pop through the air. And if you're not doing it against Western Michigan, I think BC is better here.
Speaking of not being impressed, 8 p.m. CBS Sports Network, UCLA on the road at UNLV. UCLA is a 2.5 point road favorite.
Yeah, UNLV home dog of the week. Vegas is catching up. Literally Vegas.
The Yakos, home dog of the week.
My hand was shaking. That's why I didn't hit the button quick enough. I'm with you. I've got UNLV outright.
Okay, I don't love UNLV's defense. This is a different team than where they were these past couple years. This is their Super Bowl. Look at UNLV's home schedule.
Yep.
This is their Super Bowl. They have
It
an
is.
opportunity to beat a Big Ten team at home. It's not a look-ahead spot for UCLA. I think they have New Mexico and Northwestern or something coming up. But no, UNLV, in terms of size of the game for this program, by the way, I did look it up. There is the tension, bad blood. Jerry Tarkanian loved to needle UCLA basketball talking about the Sam Gilbert era when talking about John Wooden. You know who Sam Gilbert is?
Oh, yeah.
The-
This is a
the
deep cut
booster.
from you.
Yeah.
This is quality research.
Thank you
Dan.
very much.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that may have been while he was at, where else did Tark coach? Long Beach State, something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm going UNLV here. I think they're going to be able to run on UCLA.
If you think for 1 second Dan Mullen didn't look at the box score from the UCLA-Utah game and notice that Utah ran for almost 300 yards, you don't know Dan Mullen.
It's post-Utah UCLA, so it's maybe an early body blow as well.
He is going to run. They are going to win outright.
Yeah.
And UCLA is going to slip further into the depths of despair. It's a good thing they got Nico because
Yes.
I think the rest of the team is worse.
Yep.
Been saying it for weeks now, but whatever. 3:30 ESPN Plus, the I-35 rivalry game.
Yes.
Texas State, UTSA. UTSA favored by 4.5 points. Despite being a rivalry, they've only played this game 5 times. Texas State got the win last year after 4 straight losses. They got smoked, or I should say they smoked UTSA 49-10. I am on UTSA here. UTSA 42-24 last week against Texas A&M actually looked pretty good to my eye, all things considered. They led in time of possession. They had no turnovers. They didn't get skewered on the ground by A&M. And I think they've got a pretty good quarterback in Owen McCown. So I'm going UTSA minus the points.
To be clear, UTSA as a program has not existed for very long, which is why they
Also
haven't
true.
played
Also very
this
true.
game too many times. I'm going to go UTSA as well. At home, I feel good about them. I think the offense is going to come alive against Texas State.
I got 4 more on my list that I'll go
Please.
through real quick. High noon ACC Network, UConn at Syracuse. Syracuse is favored by 7. This was a 31-24 game a year ago. I think Syracuse is way better, but I think this is a very big game for UConn. So if nothing more, it will be interesting. I've got Syracuse to win and cover.
Yeah, good Big East, bad blood, though I think Jim Calhoun and Jim Boeheim liked each other, so not actual bad blood there. So I'm going to go Syracuse as well. I think they're a big candidate for week 1 to week 2 jump, so I'll have Syracuse covering this game. They win by 11.
I thought about locking up West Virginia -3 on the road at Ohio,
Right.
4 p.m. ESPNU. They're only a 3-point road favorite against Ohio, the Bobcats. Bobcats are very new. Obviously, West Virginia is very new. West Virginia won their game in resounding fashion a week ago. I would be inclined to go West Virginia here minus whatever. I really like West Virginia in this spot, and I don't know why, but I thought they looked pretty damn good last week.
Ohio should have beaten Rutgers. Parker Navarro was really good against a Big Ten team last week.
It's true.
I'm going to go Ohio here.
Go Bobcats. All
I
right.
think West Virginia
Finally,
overlooks them. Yep.
All right, I have two games here,
Yeah.
finally. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus, Western Kentucky versus Toledo. Toledo favored by 5.5 points.
By the way, this is a look-ahead spot for West Virginia as well with Backyard Brawl next week.
Okay, I'm gonna rescind what I said there.
Oh, okay.
That creeps me out.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Western Kentucky plus the points.
I'm going WKU as well.
I don't trust Toledo to cover that. And then the final game here that I'm gonna mention, unless you've got anything else on your agenda,
Yeah.
not because they're gonna win, but just because there's all sorts of weird tension right now. 7:45, SEC Network, ULM, the mighty Warhawks on the road against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama favored by about 37, 38 points.
Yeah.
ULM is going to run. That's kind of all they can do. They're going to try to run it on Alabama. They should not be able to run it on Alabama, and I don't think they're going to play much defense. So I don't know if they cover this point spread, but there is clearly motivation on the Alabama, on the Kalen DeBoer side, to try and score 1,000 points in this game to
Right.
shut people up, because there are a lot of people talking right now.
I think
So
that's right.
I'm just saying, just watch it. Under the radar, don't put this in the quad. Don't do that to yourself. Watch the highlights afterwards. But just pay attention to this one, given given what's percolating right now at Tuscaloosa, it might be meaningful to keep tabs on this one.
Limb from limb, Alabama, but an interesting one, Ty.
Yeah.
South Alabama hosting Tulane. Situationally,
Okay.
South Alabama had a really good offense last year. Tulane at home beat a Big Ten team, albeit, it's Northwestern. Tulane has last year's quarterback next week.
Oh.
Darian Mensah and Duke against Tulane next week. I think there's
probably
look-ahead potential for Tulane.
Some bad blood there, right?
This is basically de facto Super Bowl for South Alabama for the Jags.
Go Jags.
Good offense last year. I think they can ugly this one up and cover. Yeah.
I like that. That's like 3 out of 5 at the Thai restaurant.
Thank you very much.
Can
I make a
window
request?
of opportunity, by the way.
Oh, well, yeah, please.
I think you can go out, go see Cats between. We did have somebody message us. I don't know if you saw this. Who
No.
actually had tickets to see like a community showing of Cats.
Nice.
Did it actually literally took my advice? Somewhere between 4 and 9 p.m. Eastern time is your window. If you want to go out, be amongst the people, go see a production. Maybe Hamlet's your thing. I saw the producers recently at a community stage. It was excellent.
Great.
You've got about a 5-hour block of time there to go out, be with the family, be with the friends. I think you'll be fine. You won't miss too much, but you want to be back by 9 Eastern because I do think there's going to be some crazy potential second half of that Michigan-Oklahoma game.
So get in a date night before next week's monstrosity.
Yeah, you got to plan in this game. It's
Okay.
the only way to fly.
Yeah.
You got to be thinking on your toes in advance. Next week's a big one. Next week you don't want to be. I mean, I'll give you one next week if you have to get out, if you have to run some errands or whatever, because that's what we do on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But don't put yourself against the wall like this, man. Don't plan for anything next week. Do it this week.
I would take Ty's advice. He is dressed like a penalty flag after all. Continue.
You've gone through a couple different iterations of this. I'm
Thank
proud
you.
of you, Dan.
Thank you.
Your ideal quad this week, by the way.
My question to you is, how bad do you really want legs?
If you really want to perch in front of the TV and watch it all, it's at high noon. It's Iowa State. It's Illinois Duke. It's Baylor SMU. And probably UConn or Syracuse. If you don't want UConn versus Syracuse, you could go Central Michigan versus Pitt, see your potential ACC champion.
Sure.
You could go FIU versus Penn State to see your potential national champion.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go San Jose State versus Texas to watch the mighty Spartans upset Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns at home.
Whoa. I like this. Fighting words, spicy words.
I don't honestly believe that,
But if
that's your quad.
If it happens, you have
If it
the tape.
happens-
You have the clip.
I'm wearing the color of yellow.
That's true. I don't know what that means.
Well, I'm wearing the same shade of yellow as the
San Jose State? Okay.
Spartans.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it's the same shade. I have not compared the hex values of their color to this shirt, but it's somewhere in the vicinity.
Of queso dip? Continue.
Queso dip's your best one yet.
I think that's the actual shade.
Am I wearing
Well,
Tostitos
queso can be a little
not
bit
sponsor, could be?
lighter. I think it's more nacho cheese. Okay.
That's all I got, man. This was a great show. I think.
Hold on.
we
Can I
brought the
request something? Can I
emotion-
request something?
What's that?
Can you play some big, stanky, sweaty, dripping, drenching drum and fife for me?
Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby.
All right, let's get through this.
High noon, Eastern time. Sacred Heart coming in with a lot of heart. They got no shot against the Lehigh Mountain Hawks.
Letdown spot for Lehigh.
It is a letdown spot. I checked the Lehigh football Twitter account. Still suspended. Our media brethren is not doing its part. I'm taking the music down again.
Yeah.
What are we doing out there? What are we doing, guys?
Yeah.
Arguing about SEC versus Big Ten. They are missing the forest for the trees, Dan. This is the biggest story that no one's talking about.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Josh Pate? I want to hear some talk about Lehigh football's Twitter account still being suspended for no good reason. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm done.
The integrity of Twitter and X is at question here.
They lost that a long time ago.
Yeah,
oh
continue.
my God. I'm on Mountain Hawks, though. I'm married to a Lehigh alum. I have to.
All right, I'm going Engineers big.
1 p.m. Wagner on the road at Georgetown. You besmirched the name of the Hoyas last week because they were on the road.
Destroyed Davidson.
Now they're back at Multisport Field.
Yeah, they're going to win this one by 40, 50 points. Yeah.
We agree. 1 p.m. Bucknell. The Nellies on the road at Marist. Where is Marist? Is that New York?
I believe so. I believe it's in the Hudson Valley somewhere.
I'll go Marist. I never picked the Nellies.
I'm going Nellies here big. Probably 20, 25 points.
1 p.m. Lafayette
Yeah.
on the road at Stonehill.
Yeah. It sounds like a butter company.
Where is that?
Stonehill College, Ty. It's in Easton, Mass.
Easton, Mass?
Easton, Massachusetts.
Is
Stonehill
this the
College.
Easton Bowl?
It looks like it is the Easton Bowl. This is... Dude, it's not close to anything here. It's near Brockton, West Bridgewater.
Okay.
Not terribly
Great.
far from Chartley. Plainville, North Attleboro. It's south of Boston. It's
Okay.
between Boston and Providence.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll go Lafayette.
I'm going
with that one.
Lafayette big. Continue.
6 p.m. Monmouth on the road at Fordham. Fordham got smoked last week.
I got a text from Ralph Russo saying, how could you pick BC to smoke Fordham? And BC
Really?
smoked Fordham.
They smoked them. They
Yeah.
really did. Let's go Fordham here.
I'm
What
going
the hell?
Fordham here. Bounce back game.
6 p.m. Colgate on the road at Villanova. Villanova's first game, Dan, of the season. They haven't played
Ooh,
yet.
tricky.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Nova here. I feel good about Philly. Did you
I'm
see the
going
clip,
Nova.
by the way? This is just a sidebar. Yao Ming's favorite American city is Philadelphia.
Is it?
Yes. And when asked
Great.
why, he said museums and cheesesteaks. And he
Beautiful.
thanked Catino Mobley for showing him around. It's great.
What else do you need, right?
Catino Mobley and cheesesteaks. Ideal.
6 p.m. Holy Cross on the road at New Hampshire.
Ooh. I'm going New Hampshire here.
Going to Shire?
I'm going
Shire.
and the Crusaders haven't been the same since Bobby Chesney left.
And last but not least, the Richmond Spiders, currently at 0-1 because they lost to the Lehigh Mountain Hawks
That's
last
true.
week in Goodman Stadium. Richmond on the road at Wofford. Wofford also 0-1.
Give whatever points you can find. Richmond, limb from limb. Terriers going down.
I think I'm going to go with the Terriers as well.
Yep.
Or no, you picked against the Terriers.
I've been
no, I'm
against the
going
Terriers.
Wofford.
I'm going Spiders all day.
No, I hate Spiders. I'm going Terriers.
Dumb.
That does it, boys and girls. Thank you
That's
so
it.
much for bearing with us here. Fun episode, week 2.
I'm ashamed
Like
of my
Saturday.
preamble, Ty. I could have done better. I could have tightened that up. I've been thinking about it the whole time.
I could have worn a shirt that wasn't so loud, but
Yeah.
it doesn't harm anybody who's listening to the audio. If you are watching the video, you may need
Well,
some
now
earplugs.
we're driving people to the video. They got to see it.
I guess that was not the intention of this, but I thought I was wearing something a little bit different to try and mix it up and inject some energy into this. And you've been comparing me to queso dip.
Okay. Here's what you need to know, Ty. If I could give you any piece of advice, fashion or otherwise, it would be look at the stars, look how they shine for you, Ty,
Yeah.
and everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow.
On that note, for that wonderful man over there, my good friend, as always, regardless of what he says about my shirt, Dan
Yeah.
Rubenstein, I love him like a brother.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in with this show. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you going out to verballers.com, see what we have to offer. Get in on Run the Board. Get in on the Pick'em game where you're playing for the gift card that we discussed earlier. We'd love to have you in our community. You also get access to these episodes without ads, bonus content, Discord access. You can vote in the poll, which we're not talking about the poll because the timing this week was weird. We're going to drop that on the social feed on Friday so that people can know where they voted, but we'll get back in the habit of talking about that earlier in the week when all the other polls drop as well. Verballers.com, one more time, is where you can go. Don't forget to hit follow, hit subscribe on your app, on your YouTube app, wherever it is that you find us. We'd love to have you with us all season long. And last but certainly not least, you can find us, as always, out on any variety of social media channels where we post funny
Yes.
clips, where we post funny commentary, where we post the links to get to these episodes if for whatever reason you forget. Dan Rubenstein, the voice held up. I'm proud of you, my friend.
Oh, I hit the cough button 44 times?
I didn't hear it, and I'm not watching the video.
Oh, yeah. If you are watching the video, you have noticed.
Good effort from you. Solid effort.
Appreciate
For that guy over there, my good friend Dan, for myself, Ty. Enjoy week 2. We'll catch you all on Saturday night.
Yes.
SmellTysHair.com. As always, stay solid.
Peace.